We hope you did enjoy the song, Callum Scott, and you can always get him, that great gentleman who won British Got Talent, but since then he's been flying. Now, let's move on. Latest news headlines in our first story. Health officials of the Ghana East Municipal Hospital's COVID-19 treatment center right here in Accra are worried about the increasing symptomatic cases of coronavirus infections. It has now been confirmed that more COVID-19 positive persons are now being hospitalized because more persons are showing symptoms and falling sick from the virus. The head of our health desk, Fred Smith, has more in the story.
The country has recorded up to around 300 cases on a daily basis, many of these showing symptoms of the infection, contrary to how the virus has behaved in the past 2 months.
It's important that we continue to maintain the infection prevention control practices, using our face masks, washing our hands frequently, not touching our faces without washing our hands, keeping to the social distance protocols. When we do all these things, we will see fewer and fewer cases. Now, what we realize is more people are getting ill from COVID-19. We used to see a lot more asymptomatic persons in the past, but now we are seeing more symptomatic people now, which is a worry. It shows that more people are staying home till they are really ill before they present to the health facility and are diagnosed with COVID. So again, if you are home and you have a fever, you have a cough, you have difficulty breathing, please don't just stay at home or buy paracetamol from the drugstore. Get to a health facility, get the appropriate clinical diagnosis, and if it's COVID, we can start treatment early so that you can have a full recovery.
Joy News understands all treatment centers in Accra are now stretched, and some health professionals who've tested positive have been told to go to Cape Coast for treatment. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Abuaje, however, denies this.
Currently, as at the last time, Ghana East has a capacity of 100 beds. As at 2 yesterday, we had about 62 patients there.
But pharmacist and fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, Dr. Kwame Asiedu Sapong, says he has information to support the report that the country's health systems may be indeed stretched.
We are hearing that more people are coming to hospital with symptoms.
We'll take you to the OT region, where inhabitants in 8 communities in 5 districts of the region can't access potable water, despite several government promises to fix their predicament. Many of these residents either do not get access or would have to queue for supply where it is available. OT regional correspondent Peter Senu has more in this report.
Joy News visit to 8 communities in 5 districts revealed that despite various interventions being put in place by government to ensure access to potable water supply in the wake of COVID-19, constant supply and access is a major challenge. Since the announcement by the president a couple of months ago, demand has been on the increase. However, regular supply is hampered by various human activities in some communities. In Damanko, for instance, we are told residents use the free water supplied for building and construction. Power fluctuations and other human activities such as sand winning along the river banks pose a major threat to constant supply. Salom is one of the men in charge of the facility here.
Here, the power supply is very poor. Let me use the word very poor because it's like somebody is controlling some switch in the house. You turn it off, turn it on. And our pumps, they have higher voltage. So anytime the current is even low, just like last week, you cannot even pump water. You cannot do anything at all. That's why it's as if they say we are rationing water, but we are not rationing water. Before this, the free water issue, we were supplying water adequately to Damanko, Pasa City, and other 10 communities. As we speak, if you look far and you see they are winning sign over there. Because of that, instead of us using 1 sack of alum, we bought alum, let's say 20 bags. That was on the 6th of May. By now, we are done. There's no alum again.
This pipe was choked by silt and had to be cut. This system, we are told, serves 13 communities. Michael Jato is the Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources. He has been visiting some water installations in the region.
But because of the free water for all by His Excellency the President, there has been increase in demand for water. People are using it for other unapproved purposes, like using it to mix their mud and use it for their structures. And those who are supposed to go to the lake and fetch those raw water for irrigation purposes have all resorted into the use of the treated water for other purposes that is not meant for drinking. And for that matter, there's serious demand on water. We want to use this opportunity to appeal to our brothers and sisters that this is a time of COVID. We want people to have potable drinking water. We want people to have access to water. That is why, through the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, we've come up with some meter so that people will have water in their homes as part of the extension to the program. So we want to appeal to the people of the community to actually apply for the meter so that at least they will have water in their homes. So we want to urge the residents of the area to help us with the sun winning and all other activities that is making the water a bit turbid.
The situation in other districts is not very different as residents continue to demand increased supply and access. Peter Sanu for Joy News.
In the Ashanti region, the head of settlement studies at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Divine Ahaji, is calling for a Flood Control Act. Now, Professor Ahaji identifies current building regulations and codes offer limited guidelines and are not fit for purpose. He believes the act ultimately will help elevate flooding as a national issue and altogether regulate many aspects of construction and civil engineering.
At Abuabo, in the Asokoro municipality of the Ashanti region, 14-year-old Ibrahim and his friends are on a casual fishing expedition. The flood-prone areas rendered this house almost uninhabitable. A family of 8 has managed to stay here since the situation worsened some 4 years ago. Fishers in nearby rivers have therefore found it a safe haven. This is one of the many houses in the vicinity battling with flood waters. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is therefore planning to demolish these houses. Before that, KNUST Head of Settlement Studies, Professor Divine Ahaji, is urging government to have a scheme in place to resettle all persons living in flood-prone areas.
I'm proposing that if you look at all these low-lying areas and the flood-prone areas, it is time for the government to move in to acquire those areas and do re-engineering of the whole area. Otherwise, we shall be going back and forth on this discussion of flooding every year. But then, because normally the government wants to go and demolish and displace the people, that is not the solution. The solution is a whole re-engineering. But then before the government will do that, they will need to resettle the people, because it's a right for the people to have a housing, and that should also be the government's top priority.
He believes engaging all communities in flood-prone areas to begin flood risk management at the micro level rather than the over-concentration on the macro level.
So that's why going forward, I'm saying that for the long term, we need that kind of re-engineering of our settlements. But then in the short term, we are talking about a community-based flood risk management, which we need to bring the community to be able to develop their own flood risk plan, have a committee together, and then develop their recovery plan and meet regularly on flooding issues, and that will help in addressing flooding at the community level as a short-term phenomenon. And with the way things are going now, when it comes to flood design, the building code and the building regulation is not specific, it's just general, and even the code captures just a few areas on flooding. But now that it has become a national issue, we need a flood control act that will guide everything relating to settlement design and planning, so that when one is executing a project, flooding will not be something that one has to do because is at one's own will, but the law mandates the person to execute certain things because the place is likely to flood for it. And I'm also seeing a situation where when you have the Flood Control Act, it will help to make raise flooding as a national issue.
Until these measures are put in place, Ibrahim and his friends will discover more houses for their expedition. For Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
We'll take you to the Upper West region, where the regional minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, has reiterated government's commitment to provide the needed logistics to enhance teaching and learning in schools across the country. He says it is through education people living in abject poverty could have the cycle broken, adding that government is also leaving no stone unturned in ensuring that this really happens. Rafiq Salam brings us this report from Wa.
Education in the Upper West region, especially at the basic level, for some time now, has taken a nosedive. The past few years have seen various key stakeholders brought together at several fora to brainstorm and find an antidote to it. Lack of supervision was penciled as one of the reasons attributed to the fallen standards of education in the region. The work of circle supervisors came to the scrutiny, and many of them were put on the chopping board for dereliction of duty. They, however, parried the blame on lack of transport to enable them to do the supervision efficiently. All will, however, come to pass as the government has donated 85 motorbikes for all 11 municipal and districts in the Upper West region. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, who donated the motorbikes on behalf of the government to the Upper West Directorate of the Ghana Education Service to be handed over to the circuit supervisors, spoke of the government's commitment to ensuring that teachers get the logistics that they need in their line of duty. Dr. bin Sali urged the circuit supervisors to use the motorbikes for the purpose for which they were given so as to enhance their work.
We know that this country can only be liberated from poverty through education, particularly those of us who are from the northern part of the country. It is only through education that we can liberate ourselves from poverty. So no effort shall be spared. With this donation from the government, those who will be using them will use them for the purposes for which they have been given. Let us use it to supervise our teachers, our students, and whatever activities are taking place in our schools. It is only through supervision that we can enhance educational performance.
Acting Upper West Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, Godfrey Dongiru, noted that the provision of the 85 motorbikes, with each of them accompanied with 2 crash helmets, will go a long way to change the tide in the region.
And I hope that with this, we're able to strengthen supervision, and we're able to do that. We can improve performance in this part of our country because our performance has been so worrisome, BC, WASI. So with this, I hope we'll be able to do a good job and we'll realize the effect of what the government has given us.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
Back here in Accra, we focus on mainstream politics, and the National Democratic Congress has withdrawn its request asking the Supreme Court to rule that the Electoral Commission does not have the power to compile a new voters register. Now, this was after the court had asked the party to make a choice on which of its reliefs it wants to pursue. Joseph Akable was in court for Joy News.
The opposition NDC in its case in the court had made the point that the Electoral Commission does not have the power to compile a new register. They also make the point that should the court even rule that the Electoral Commission can compile a new voters register, the EC should allow persons who intend to use the existing voters ID card as proof of identification that they are citizens and they are of 18 years of age should be allowed to use those cards to get onto the electoral roll. The court first asked the lawyers for the NDC to elect one of the reliefs and pursue it instead of pursuing the combined relief of asking for a declaration that the EC cannot compile a register and also asking that it is unconstitutional to exclude the voter's ID card. The NDC's lawyers, led by Godwin Tamaklo, opted to abandon the course relating to challenging the powers of the EC to compile a new register, and rather to make the point that the EC should allow others who have the current voter's ID card to take part in the registration exercise. The court then proceeded to hear legal arguments from the parties in the case. Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Adami told the court that the EC should be allowed to correct its own error, since it has admitted that indeed it allowed persons and trained its officials not to obey CI 72. That, he said, is evidence that indeed persons who are with their cards, some of whom acquired it through ways which cannot be trusted, and that should be evidence that the court should take note of. The NDC insists that no evidence has been shown that indeed individuals who are not supposed to be on the electoral roll are on the roll, and so they cannot proceed to say that they shouldn't use the voters register. After listening to the arguments, the court adjourned proceedings to June 23 to deliver its judgment, 7 days before the EC has slated to carry out its compilation of a new voters register. Reporting for Joy News on the Law Court Complex, my name is Joseph Akable.
In Parliament, the first Deputy Majority Whip, Matthew Nyindam, says the NDC's decision to withdraw a request asking the Supreme Court to rule that the EC does not have the power to compile the new voters register is a sign that the party will lose the main case when the court rules later this month.
Well, I think it's a good call by the Supreme Court. And like I said, common sense will tell me that obviously the NDC didn't have a case to go to court to pray the court to stop the Electoral Commissioner from their mandated and constitutionally mandated work, telling them not to compile a new voters register.
So for you, does the new directive mean anything at all in terms of how the eventual outcome of the case?
Yeah, yes, it really means something to me, because if you go and you are telling the court to stop the Electoral Commissioner from compiling a new voters register, and the court is telling you you should choose between the two, it actually tells you that they are sick of indecision. They have not decided well. If they have decided well, they should have told the court that we need both reliefs. But at the end of the day, they decided to drop that aspect, which means that they never thought through by filing that relief. And secondly, it also gives me a hope that the NDC never thought through the first one. The second one too, actually, they never thought through it, and they will not win on that matter. So who is intimidating who? Are we talking about intimidating the judges, intimidating the Electoral Commissioner, or the NDC, or the MPP? We are all Ghanaians. Those military people, or whatever you call them, the security people you saw around, are all Ghanaians. And for that matter, they are protecting a state institution, they are protecting you, they are protecting me, they are protecting NDC, they are protecting MPP. There is no intimidation.
Well, we have to on the news board again. Our caution on our main campaign, Arrive Alive on the Road, is always on. And our Arrive Alive tip for the morning is very simple. The temptation to speed to work and from time to time hang out or have some relaxation, especially because it's a Friday, on a Friday, is incredibly high. But remember, you may not arrive at all to have that fun. So this morning, resolve to do a number of things. One, avoid texting and chatting on the phone while driving. Keep to acceptable speed limits, and then you will arrive alive at your main destination. That's it for now. The destination is right here on the AM show, and for the next 2.5 hours, we're on it for you. So we had to do the newspapers and give tea.
Hi there, good morning to you all who are watching us from wherever you are, especially to those in Tarkwa. And I hope that you had a good sleep, and I hope that the day ahead will be great.
Definitely. And I want to say good morning to Salifu Combat. You are head of primary healthcare pharmacy, the Boku Presbyterian Hospital, and your wife, Flora. You with the Ghana Immigration Service, the Misiga border, you're working hard in these times of COVID. God bless you.
Okay. So I'm starting with the Daily Graphic, Opemo. The Daily Graphic banner headline says, building on water courses, human activities cause Accra floods. So we're diagnosing the problems once again. Well, the story is by Doreen Ando and Juliet Echan.
We really diagnose. I think we're just regurgitating the information,
yeah,
like you said.
So it says that human activities cause Accra floods.
It's the same
so
thing you said. The script would have fitted 5 years ago.
Trust me. And so one of our producers, I was discussing one of our producers, and he said, well, with this particular story, we're not going to look for any new sound bites from authorities. Let's take the ones that they said 5 years ago and play it back, and you see that they're talking about the same thing. Okay.
And we've been joined by Uncle Ben and Inshirado, the Rainmaker. Good morning to all of you.
Morning, good morning.
Okay, great. Inshirado, good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Charlie, I love your voice. Why took some coffee or some appeal?
Or some sugar. Appeal, seriously. Sugar.
No, I'm actually yet to have some ginger tea and honey.
Charlie, this man.
Daddy B.
Magufuli is Magufuli's friend.
When people are eating kose and coconut. Anyway. I won't ask that one. The producer said, the director said I should ask you something, but I won't ask. Uncle Ben, are you also having any beverage?
Uncle Ben, he's a garlic man.
Pardon?
Are you having any beverage this morning?
Oh, not usually my breakfast around 9:30, 10.
Okay. So I started with the Daily Graphic. I'm just going to go quickly and finish it. The banner headline, building on water courses, human activities cause Accra floods. And there is a picture here. I'm not okay. There you have it on your screen. It's and what's inserted on that picture is a developer filling the path that carries water spilled from the Weija Dam with heaps of sand at Tetegu in Accra. So there is a part that sort of absorbs water when the dam is open, and there is a developer who has put
hips.
of sand in there. It makes no sense. I don't.
But who sold the land to them?
I don't know.
So yeah,
I don't know. But perhaps that will be in the story. The story is on page 3. I'll try and take a look and see if I can summarize what it says. And then Supreme Court rules on NDC EC case June 23. Okay, so that's the date set. Oh wow. On page 13 is where you can find that story. 100 grams of seized suspected narcotics missing. Oh, wow. Page 13 again. And Ghana Beyond Aid significant for COVID-19 development of Safumafo. That was at the virtual forum held yesterday under the auspices of the Information Ministry. And then the General Legal Counsel has a notice to the public. It says that the General Legal Counsel is informing the general public of its intention to publish a joint report by the Legal Counsel. Okay. To get it's about degrees, law degrees, let me just say, so for the benefit of the public. And National Accreditation Board on Monday, they'll be publishing their reports on Monday, June 15 next week, 2020, on the assessment of tertiary institutions offering legal education at faculty level for LLB degrees. Please be informed accordingly. Signed by Cynthia Pamela Addo, Judicial Secretary. People who are studying law will be interested in that as well, and those who want to. Back page of Daily Graphic, $500 million cement factory for Weija Gbawe. And Mr. Ishmael Ashite, second left, Mrs. Tina Gifty Mensah, all of them cutting the sword there. And we will support local contractors to deliver. Amakwata is saying that story is from Samododu in Salaga. Samododu is my mate from GIJ. Samo, good morning to you. Shall I just take a quick look at the center spread of that Daily Graphic and what it says quickly? Ghana Beyond Aid significant. So that you have that story on the center spread. And new bridges to be constructed at Buipe, Yape, and pharmaceutical industry urges government to resolve difficulties in imports clearance. So that's it for the Ghanaian Daily Graphic newspaper.
Now let's go to Inchirado. You have the Ghanaian Times. Please, can you do that for us quickly?
Yes, the Ghanaian Times has a very interesting front page. Says in the missing illicit drugs Narcotic Control Commission charges at the Customs Division of the GRA, and government to invest in e-learning facilities for tertiary institutions. Also, the ban on noise making in Accra lifted, and compilation of the new voters register, all the court brouhaha will be settled because the SC, which is the Supreme Court, will deliver the judgment on June 23. And that's the Ghanaian Times.
Okay.
Shall we go to Uncle Ben? Or do
I'll come down here, do the daily guide. Okay. And it says NDC runs away from old register, has an attach or a number of pictures. Attaches Justin Amenuvo, Godfred Yabuadami, and Godwin Tamaklo. All of them have been, well, key figures in this. NDC Apostle on Tramadol as MPs defend him. We have
this chopping and changing.
Inserted picture of Apostle.
I'm doing you.
Fabina Owusweje and Harvard rewards Napo's effort and vice chancellors engage Nana. That's a great thing to see. Meanwhile, Salah, that's the Liverpool player, shares free fuel for fans. Definitely. Should happen. That was a good one. Charlie. Okay, Uncle Ben, you have the dispatch.
Hello?
Yeah, you have the dispatch. Please do the paper, the dispatch.
The dispatch. The lead is the NDC versus EC New Voters Register. Judgment day 23rd June.
And tell them why, because I forgot here earlier.
And
I'll be leaving them early.
And the sub-lead is
okay.
Supreme Court.
You need to mute your sound there, so that we can hear Uncle Ben.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please go on.
Uncle Ben, go on. Uncle Ben, do go on, please.
Hello?
Yes,
the second sub-lead is Supreme Court warns lawyers in NDC EC case, stop talking. You are creating tension. And I think that this is a very welcome warning because and I like what Justice Badegbe said. He said, if you want to start talking in the media, then you might as well file your documents in the media. So I believe that they will take note of that word, and then the disinfection of colleges for them to move in continues. And I think that Roland and Gifty, I'd like to make a comment on your Arrive Alive. I think it's a very good campaign. Yeah. And if I may make a suggestion, I think that the GPR, the police must make it mandatory that every long distance vehicle must have a notice pasted above the driver that in case this vehicle is overspeeding, there must be a WhatsApp number or an alarm number that a passenger can say, look, we are in Roland's car or Gifty's car, we are heading towards destination A, the driver is speeding. I think that that would be a charge against reckless driving.
Oh, I agree with you. Well, Gifty will wrap up with the few newspapers we have
just a quick,
left.
The Ghanaian Observer in the Daily Statement. The Ghanaian Observer's banner headline: New Voters Register. NDC makes U-turn. Stories on page 9 and 10. Ghana Beyond Aid agenda crucial for post-COVID progress. Senior Minister. Don't be NDC pawns for destruction. Sami Ewoku advises youth. And NDC Apostle test positive for tramadol weed. Back page, Black Queens tipped for 2023 World Cup. And CK Akono set to rotate Black Stars captaincy. Okay. Gilead calls for revolution on racism. Certainly we should. And center spread, Mahama's trainee nurse teacher allowance U10. Has NDC lost its senses? Nana B asks. We're not overwhelmed by coronavirus cases. DHS Director General and Queen Mother's pledge to support fight against coronavirus. CI-126, Supreme Court can declare Parliament's decision unconstitutional. Kweku Bako is saying that. And fund for mentally challenged patients. Fund for mentally challenged patients neglected for 7 years. Dr. Kwesi who has been a key advocate. Let me finally end it with the Daily Statesman. Osafo Mafo, Ghana Beyond Aid agenda critical. Okay, so that story is all over. And don't register with an exclamation mark. The story is on page 2. According to the Statesman, NDC is ordering supporters to boycott New Voters Register and let's safeguard Ghana's future. President Akufo-Addo saying that. Back page, Adrian Mutu, the 15 million euro man. What did he do next? And Dele Ali, Tottenham midfielder, banned for one match over coronavirus post. Center spread trade fair to stick to 2022 deadline for redevelopment, says MD, and 1 district, 1 factory firms granted tax waivers. That's it for the daily statement, and that's it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and Uncle Ben, one of the key dominating features for the news day before the close of the period, the last 12 hours, was the outcome of what happened or transpired at the Supreme Court, and especially for the legal team of the NDC to make those
please
changes.
Come again. There's a problem at the studio vis-a-vis. There's so much noise. Please come again.
Okay, Uncle Ben, let's work that out. Let's Inshira, what's your pick for today whilst we work on Uncle Ben's sound? Hi, Inshira. Okay. Uncle Ben, can you hear us now?
So.
Okay.
I think Inshira is on.
Gifty.
Yeah. Please go on. What's your pick before you?
I'm hoping you can hear me. Okay, so I think I want to jump into the narcotics control story on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Now, it's quite disturbing that the Narcotics Control Board is alleging, or rather charging, that over 100 kilograms of cocaine, which they submitted to the Ghana Revenue Authority, the Customs Division of the GRA, for safekeeping, has somehow disappeared. And you and I know this is not the first time this is happening. And it's quite frustrating because we cannot be having this happening in our society. If the people whose job it is to ensure that we're fighting the illicit drug trade, which we know goes into financing all kinds of things, including terrorism, and, it just makes you wonder whether we've entrusted that responsibility in the hands of the right people. You would go back into maybe about 14, 15 years ago, Uncle Ben, if I think your memory might be better on this one, but we had a whole consignment of evidence disappearing, and then the other one became Konkonte in the end. I mean, who does that? Why should these things continue to happen? And it seems as though nobody has been held accountable for some of these lapses in the security that's supposed to surround the evidence which is being held. And I think that it's about time that we actually saw people held responsible for, 100 kilograms of cocaine is no mean, feat to suddenly disappear. Who had keys to that place? Who had responsibility to ensure that it was kept in a safe or some sort of a vault? We need to know who all these people are and ensure that they're answering questions. And there must be sanctions. I think the problem with our society is because we see very little of people being sanctioned. Other people are emboldened to do these things. I mean, how can 100 kilograms of cocaine just evaporate? And I think that the Narcotics Control Board has every right to put this matter out there. And it's about time the government agencies held themselves and other supporting agencies accountable for the various things that they have to do in support of each other. It is only when we're accountable as a people that I think we can make the progress we require.
The story actually says that it got missing in the custody of customs.
Well, I think that on this matter, in a month, if there's nothing on this matter, I will start holding the IGP responsible. In the same way as if the police misbehave, if the police do well, the IGP takes the credit. Once there is a negative aspect, he must take the flak. Let somebody in the village go and steal a piece of yam costing 7 cedis. That person will be sentenced to a 3 months imprisonment or pay a fine of 100 cedis. If the person had 100 cedis, there was no way he would go and steal 7 cedis worth of yam. And in a month, I'm hoping that my good friend the IGP will do what is necessary. This is serious. I mean, like Ishua said, we've had cocaine turning into white powder, turning into coconte, and this thing must stop.
So apparently, this is a part of the story that says that said substance was allegedly detected missing when the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, 2 days after the seizure, invited all agencies at the border to verify the exhibits that NACOP left in the custody of Customs. So what we know is that it got missing in the custody of Customs. So I guess we can rope them into this discussion as well.
Oh, it's important we all know that we have precedent and we have smaller doses or weights of narcotics always getting missing in the exhibit. It just takes us back to that period in 2008. Uncle Ben, my discussion wanted to focus, or it wants to focus on the subject of why the NDC's legal team may have decided to change their own petition or what their case was before the Supreme Court.
I think, just a quick one, I think they were given the option to choose one out of the two cases.
Yeah, it's an option. They could have decided to say that, look.
Right, okay, right, true. Uncle Ben?
Hello?
Yes, Roland is asking for your thoughts on the NDC-EC saga.
Roland, I can't hear anything. I think there is a lot of noise from your end.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, it's just what transpired at the court yesterday, and then also what the ramifications ultimately will be, as we know, the discussions and the period before 23rd. Can you hear me?
Okay, Roland, yes, I can hear you say, can you hear him? But
yes.
Please come again.
Okay, it's just the NDC EC case and then the option to choose one out of the two based on what the Supreme Court gave the NDC legal team.
I can hear, I miss the crackle, the NDC. Well, I think that if what you are saying is whether the NDC concerning the, if I can guess right, them dropping one of their two submissions, is that it? If it does, say, give me a thumbs up, if that's what you mean. Yes, I think that the judges were magnanimous in asking them because the two claims that they took to court was like head on within themselves. One, you are saying that the EC, by challenging the EC's constitutional right to do voters register. And the second one, you are assuming that the EC has the power, so you are challenging their decision not to include the old voters register card as a basis for registering the new one. And I think that they were smart. The court was magnanimous to ask them to, because if the court wanted a shortcut out, they would have just dismissed the first one, and I believe that they wouldn't have been necessary for them to go through the second one. And like I said earlier, I'm not surprised that the judgment is so early. I took a lot of inspiration from the veteran of the Chief Justice, and that in the event of election petition. So now we know that in the event of any election petition arising from the results, the maximum will be 42 days. And while they started sitting on Saturdays, it augurs good for us. And I'm sure by 23rd, as they say, we see where the heads are and where the tails are.
Interesting one. Roland, do you have a pick? Oh, that's what you asked Uncle Ben.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I have said that I've been fatigued about the
flouting of regulation flats, when it comes to...
No, actually the flats, yeah. Okay. And the things that come with the flats. But I think that authorities should pay some attention to this story on the Daily Graphic front page. The banner headline on the Daily Graphic that says that a developer is filling the path that carries water spilled from Wager Dam with heaps of sand at Tetegu. I think that authorities to take a very serious look at what's happening there. We can't allow this to happen. We can, and this is what happens. So it will start gradually. They will perhaps put one round of sand there. Nobody says anything. Another round, nobody says anything. Another round. Before we know it, the person has sealed the ground and has put up a structure on it. The next thing we know, it rains, it floods, people die. We come and talk about it. NADMO gives out mattresses. Really, seriously, which serious country does that? We can't let that happen. And I think that, and I remember back, some years back, I can't remember, I think I was still in journalism school. I saw a slum developing somewhere around Shashi, and I wrote a letter to the editor, and Daily Graphic published it back then. Nothing was done about it. Before we knew it, it had become a full-blown, what's the word again? How did it escape? I don't know. But let's deal with it at the beginning. Let's nip it in the bud before it becomes a bigger problem that we can't deal with. That's my take.
Well, Uncle Ben, I do know that we have a building code. The building code, if you take a look at it, is about 1,700 pages. And the standards authority is to make sure some of these things are well implemented. Ultimately, if you look at the various MMDAs, they do have various directorates that are in charge of building inspections, engineering, civil engineering, etc. Definitely, Tetegu Weja is under a municipality, an assembly. You're not surprised that these things are going on, and I'm sure something needs to be done as fast as possible. Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben.
Okay,
Uncle Ben, what's your pick for the morning? Uncle Ben? Well, today...
Yes, Roland, I think that... Can you hear me? Yes. I think that there are times I usually feel very despondent. There are times the media is unjustifiably accused of being just interested in sensationalism. We don't help in national development. But it is so irritating, annoying, and unfair when such stories are brought to the fore and civil servants don't act. I've always said, and I'll repeat again, that if somebody's house is demolished because it was built on a waterway, if the person has proof that he had a letter of permission to construct that house, the person who signed, unless the person is dead, he must be charged. Because I cannot, for heaven's sake, have a letter authorizing me to build on this way, and 10, 15 years later, my house will be demolished, which I might deserve, but then where is the trust in public officials? I believe that there must be a situation where these things, like Roland, you are saying, must happen. People often advise, people will come to our office, they will have documents, they said, oh, they've been told to build quickly, build in the night, like this publication. The editor of the newspaper cannot enforce the demolition. I think that the government or any government who comes must have a small implementation concerning having very serious. You see, the media, some of us get so frustrated.
Yeah.
At times, at the risk of relationship with friends and family, you do a story and then you annoy people, and the agencies that must act. If we are to take the agencies to court, somebody goes to court and decides that this thing, I brought it, and I'm hoping that the way cases are being fast-tracked now, Roland and Gifty, we might be able to, because next year by this time, God willing, we'll still be discussing flats.
Well, thank you, Uncle Ben. That's what we have to call it a morning. We do hope that you have a great weekend. But, Gifty, we have to take a break.
We have to do, oh, really? We have to do some sports.
Yes, so we're doing sports next after this break.
Earlier on the show, for former England and West Ham United player Carlton Cole, he actually focused more on the recent issue of racism, and he's totally in support of the Black Lives Matter movement to eradicate racial discrimination, especially in the game.
I've had a few issues along the way online. When Twitter first came around, I had a few misdemeanors on there.
Yeah.
With some fans. But my first, I recall the first time I actually did get subjected to racism when I was over in Spain playing for England under 21s. When a banana got thrown on the pitch. But back then I wasn't really focused on the banana as such. I was focused on the game, and it didn't actually register until after the game that I was subjected to racism. And then after, when I was walking down the tunnel as well, had a lot of monkey chants directed at me and all the other black players that was on the field. But that was in Europe. But I always say that we need to keep our own house in order to progress first. So stop concentrating on other countries, and let's just look at ourselves first and see if we can eradicate it in our game, and then we can move further on to doing it across the world.
All right, Carlton Cole, former West Ham United player, speaking there. Now, South African sports broadcaster Karl Chabalala is actually happy the major leagues are finally coming back.
My last live match that I actually attended in the UK was on the 11th of March.
Oh.
So exactly 3 months ago, and that was a Champions League game, the second league, the second round, the second leg game, of course, between Liverpool FC as well as Atletico Madrid. And at that stage, I mean, obviously we'd heard about the outbreak, COVID-19, there were murmurs here and there, but we actually had no idea just what an impact it would have in the world of sports. It seemed like such a foreign concept, and it seemed as if this would be a pandemic that we would be able to get under control. I was at that game. It was completely sold out, as are most of the games in the UK. We celebrated, we hugged, all of us fans together as a family. And literally the very next day, the UK recorded its first 2 COVID-19 deaths. 2 days later, all of the matches that were scheduled for the weekend were called off. I flew back to South Africa. We had matches for another week and a half. And when I came back to South Africa, I thought, well, maybe this is something that's going to affect more than anything Europe, because we started hearing about leagues, of course, in Spain, in Italy, in France, also having to be halted and a decision needing to be made there and games being called off.
All right, so PM Express happened yesterday. We can, go to our various social media platforms to check. If you missed that program, the video is there. When you go on myjoyonline.com/sports, you can watch that program.
Well, we want to have this big conversation. We're inviting you into a broader discussion as to how coronavirus has affected your family life, the way you interact with people around you.
That's a conversation that we've had on the pause, and I realized that we never had time enough to exhaust it. There's several people with several issues and that they want to talk about. They want people to pour their heart out to. They want advice from counselors, and that's exactly what we're doing today, this morning. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. But let's run this by you. Now, we do have a great activity and lineup for you on Father's Day. Now, for the shield you've always been in times of trouble, for the love and affection that you've always portrayed, for the stern yet essential admonishment you gave when we faulted, for pointing us in the right direction when we strayed, we say thank you, Dad. Make sure that you pamper your dad with our special Father's Day package and enjoy a 1-month free subscription on Graphic News Plus app. The rate is just a cool 250 Ghana cedis, and it's with your partner. Now, if you're a partner, it's at the Alisa Hotel, Silver Star, and ATL proudly bringing this to you. The Mirror, Ghana's most popular weekend paper, and Graphic Courier. So fast, so easy. So easy for Father's Day. I know Gifty We'll always celebrate Father's Day with us, and we'll have a lot of fathers also calling through our Zoom interaction. And the Zoom ID is always on your screen, Gifty.
So there you have it, the Zoom ID, there it is. It's 943-8301-1020, and the password as well is 356475. If you want to quickly put that in, key that in on your devices and join us. So, well, and I don't know how this has affected your relationship. I mean, your wife is a nurse, so I am sure that you take extra precautions. COVID has changed the way we do things, the way we see things. And I'm interested in one thing. I'm interested to find out, the last time we had this conversation, someone called in, texted in and said he's been posted for 6 months as a teacher and he's not being paid. So there's no money, they can't do anything on the side. He's constantly fighting with his wife, or his wife is constantly fighting him. And he said he felt like giving up, ending it all.
And then being what, like suicide? Or?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. I mean, 2 people actually texted in with a similar story. And just on the same show, someone called and said it was going to donate 500 CDs to the person. But again, you may have the money. Sometimes it's not even the money. It's just the mental stress. And yesterday we talked about mental stability and mental health. It's just the mental stress that it brings.
The psychology of it, you know, being in a better state mentally.
And so first of all, there's the mental stress. You're thinking of your health. You're thinking of the money you're losing. People are taking pay cuts. People are losing their jobs. Children are home. So the house, usually you'd go out and come, so there's a bit of breathing space. Now there's no breathing space. Everything is just clustered at home. You have to learn at home, do church at home, eat at home, do everything at home. It's just daunting.
And I have a friend who's an industrial psychologist, and what he did tell me was that many of us, and I listened to that conversation you had yesterday, or I watched it yesterday with Dr. Dodoy and Dr. Ruth Owusu-Entry, and he did tell me that Nanaya Jemfikese said, many of us who rate different things differently in relation to what we achieve or the situation in which we are. There's somebody in the workplace who loves just the title, I'm a manager. And somebody also cares about what he gets at the end of the month. Of course. Somebody also cares about the environment, the environment in which he's working, and any other thing is irrelevant. Yeah, somebody also cares about the relationship he has at the workplace, or somebody also cares about maybe the brand of the company he works in, or somebody also just loves something he loves to do at the workplace. And so all these tend to come in to influence the way we position our mental state. And particularly yesterday, I loved what Dr. Dodoy said about there are people who go around the house praying or preaching or so, you know.
No, but seriously, I mean, I preach around, I don't preach, I pray around my house. I clean up. No, yesterday I was...
You kind of found yourself in that situation.
I didn't find myself in the street.
You are not part.
I just found some of the things.
They are very related to what you do.
Yes. I mean, there are times that I can get very excited in a newsroom. Sometimes because it's a Friday and tomorrow, the next day, especially if I'm not working on the weekend, I get excited and I'm going to sleep at least. He said being over happy. I don't know if there's anything like that. Being over happy. But I can get very excited sometimes. And I'm not sure it's a mental situation anyway. But he said that if it continues, you know, for example, for this is consistent for like 4 days, then you should be looking out for, you know, that person and perhaps asking them to get help. Mine hasn't continued for 4 days. Or at least I'm convincing myself that.
So your mental state is the shorter one?
Oh, it's stable, extremely stable, fantastically stable. But he said something about washing at home. You know, you wake up one day, you're excited, you are cleaning the entire house and you're singing.
Yeah, that one.
I do that a lot, and I play loud music and I sing along. And of course, Christian music. I'm very particular about what I listen to. I think it forms, you know, what you have in there, what you have in your heart as well. So I'm very particular about how I choose my music. So
those of us who listen to Shatta Wale means actually
it's a choice.
Okay.
It's a choice.
Because I wanted Shatta Wale's guys to come at you.
I like Shatta Wale. I mean, if I'm listening to, I will. It's not so worldly songs or worldly music won't be the song that I will
gravitate towards,
and you know, but I will listen to it if I have to. I mean, I like Shatta Wale's what's that song? The one that said, maybe today I don't get nothing.
I know my level.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that song. I like the part where he says, maybe today I don't get nothing, but
today,
tomorrow
that's inspirational.
I will get something and I go buy a motor. You know, that's it. Okay.
It's on food and William.
So I want to hear from you. Join us on the Zoom, and let me give you our WhatsApp number as well. I'm just going to get it quickly. If you know it already, I want to hear from you.
Can I mention it to them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you have it in your head.
054 is the only number I've been able to keep for a very long time. 0540 10 909. That's the best mental stability I have when it comes to the numbers around. And please, so the question is, how has coronavirus affected your family ties, relationships? And when we're talking family, you know, in the Bible it said that love thy neighbor as thyself, and that's your family. So it could be your son, your daughter, your spouse, your extended family, your cousins, your mother, grandmother, your friends, etc. And that is what we want to have this conversation about. We're inviting you into this, and we already do have healthy family advocates, great counselor, and then also preacher. Amos Kevin Annan is on stream, Gifty.
They say it's Amos Kevin Annan.
Amos, okay.
Yes.
But well, he's on stream, so he'll tell us the real pronunciation.
He will. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Right. Okay, so make sure you join this. We're waiting for you to join, and when we join, we get the aggregated numbers. We will then put all of you on stream, and we'll have this conversation, because Amos Kevin Annan will be on one side listening to all of you, and then he offers his counsel, etc., etc. But look, we have house rules, Gifty.
Okay, so you want to there's a part that I don't really agree with. I mean, okay, so you want to have a nice background. You want to have a nice background. You want to stay at one place. You want to turn the volume down on your television set. You can take a look at the screen, but you have to turn the volume down so you can listen to us on your phone. You can listen to us on your device, because you can hear us from there. And you want to wear a shirt. We've seen enough chests. Okay, that's the part that I didn't agree with, but it's a house rule, so you have to obey. So wear a shirt. Don't lie on the floor. Don't lie in your sofa. It makes it, you see the way I'm sitting up. Yeah, you want to sit up like that, wonder why you're steady. See what I mean? And then you can talk to us on the phone, not on the television. I want to hear from you. Send in your messages. Join us on the Zoom. Amos Kevin Annan is joining us. We lost him briefly, but he's going to come right back up, and then we'll have the continuing conversation. Okay, so we've opened our phone lines as well. In fact, we didn't really put the number there, but those of you who know already calling, let's get some of the calls right now.
Wow, wonderful. Yeah. Okay, so I already see Atuguba Raymond. Hey, is that the lecturer? I'm not sure.
Of course not.
Raymond Atuguba.
No.
I have
Okay, so
Sylvanus Kodonu, and then we have a number of them. Please make sure you mute your sound out there. Mute your sound. When we mention your name, we're able to identify you, for which we will identify almost everybody. Then you will unmute your sound. Yeah. I've seen that a couple of us already have this good backgrounds, the backgrounds from Zoom. That's good. And then reduce the volume on your TV set. If you have to put it on at all, or you all together, make sure you mute the volume on your set. Okay. All right. So we'll have Amos Kevin Annan also on the side, listening and watching at the same time. Okay, so we'll start with Emmanuel Ishen.
Hi, Emmanuel. Good morning.
Wave, Emmanuel Ishen.
Emmanuel, can you give us a wave so we know which of the boxes you're in?
Okay.
Hi, Emmanuel Ishen.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you? You're breaching the house rules, Emmanuel. I can hear myself on your TV. I can hear myself on your TV. You want to turn down the volume on the television and talk to me on your phone?
Yeah. The Ghana situation.
Hi, Emmanuel. Are we good now? Can we go?
Okay.
Okay. Let me quickly choose someone else. If you call, you want your phone, your TV set to be silent. Emmanuel Queno. Emmanuel, talk to me.
Yeah. Gifty, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
No, please, how are you doing this morning?
We are blessed. How has COVID-19 impacted your family ties or your relationship?
Gifty, it has really affected me a lot because it's been over 6 months and I've not seen my kids. Because I am in the Bono region and they are in Accra now.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want any infection or any them coming here, even in the car coming, they could even contract the disease. So really I'm affected.
I mean, what is it that you miss most? For the past 6 months, you've not interacted with your kids, and I believe your wife as well, right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, so you've not seen them physically. What's the difference between being able to see them physically and not? What is it that you miss the most?
You know, being with your family is something that you cannot do without. And you staying somewhere, your kids, at least every morning they will be moving around you. You will see their faces, daddy, daddy. It is something welcoming. So the COVID has really affected and it has really changed things a lot.
Okay. Well, you can use video calls. You can do calls like voice calls.
Oh, I've been calling them, but at least their physical presence would have been enough for me.
Okay. Well, I want you to say a shout out to them wherever they are. Hopefully they are watching you. Can you mention their names and where your wife works maybe? Say a shout out to them. And then
Marianne Josephine Kwatikwenu, Godfred Johnson Kwenu, I miss you kids a lot. I miss them so much.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Kweno. I'm sure that I hope they're watching.
But Gifty, there is something that I want. There is something that if I could personally contact you so that you help me solve a certain problem.
Let's see how that goes. You can call in after the show or call into our newsroom and we'll see how we can work that out. All right.
Okay.
Mr.
I'm very grateful.
You're welcome. Thank you and have a great day. Let's see. Who next do we have? Who's ready for us? Kweku Maxine. Kweku Maxine is a regular Zoomer. Kweku, give us a wave and talk to us.
Kweku, good morning to you, Kweku Maxine. Go ahead. How has COVID affected?
Good morning, Raymond.
Yeah, Roland.
Yes.
Roland. Yeah, Roland is fine.
Roland and then Gifty.
Yes, great.
Okay. We had this plan. I'm not married though, but we had this plan to marry this year, and then so we wanted to raise the families, both families, and then I don't know. All of a sudden, this thing hit us, so we had to keep, stuck to it.
Oh.
I don't know, but it's like.
Is it that you want to have a huge wedding? Because you can still do a small wedding and just have your commitments to each other.
Not necessarily the wedding, but then but then we wanted to visit each families, our families.
Okay. You can still mix in the families and observe the necessary protocols. You don't stay too close to people. You wear your mask and you don't do any handshakes and all of this. Hello, Kweku. Kweku, can you hear me? Okay, it looks
yes,
like
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I do. Please go ahead. I was saying that there are options for you. I'm sure that if Amos Kevin Allen was listening, he would have probably said the same thing. That you can organize something small, and observe the protocols. That's very, very
I know.
important.
The problem is she is a frontline worker now. And then because she wanted to have her leave in between time, and then all of a sudden this problem came in, so she has to go back to work. Because of this, she has to go back to work.
Okay.
We couldn't go. Had it not been this, she will have her leave so that we'll leave and then go visit the families and do whatever is necessary. But then she has to also go back to work because of what has happened.
Okay. Well, Kweku, we want to celebrate your wife to be. We want to celebrate your wife to be, especially also because she's a frontline worker. I want you to mention her name, and if you like, mention her name and where she works so that we can celebrate her.
Okay, the name is Monica Pierre Nelson, but then I won't mention where she is.
That's okay.
But she's working tirelessly.
And I want you to tell her how much you love her.
There's been a while. I'm on here. Hey. Hi, Monica.
Hey, she's there.
I do love you, Monica. No, she's not here.
Okay, so say it again. Tell her how much you love her.
Good morning. I miss her a lot. I miss her a lot.
It looks like Monica is in the bedroom. Or is there another woman in there?
Don't put him in trouble.
Oh, no,
not yet. It's from other background.
It's another background.
Okay.
Maxi, I agree with you. It has to be some other background because nobody is moving around you. Gifty don't put COVID though.
No, I mean,
COVID can bring trouble.
Because she's a frontline worker. And I don't believe in infidelity. I would have fought for her.
Don't believe in.
Okay, because she's a frontline worker, and I don't believe in infidelity. I would have fought for her right here on the TV. But it's good. It's good that there's no other woman there. So tell her, we didn't get that line. I want you to mention her name and tell her how much you love her and how good you believe the future will be.
So I want to say, Monels, I do love you, and then I've got your back. I support you in everything you do.
Okay.
I can't wait for this to be over so that we'll come back together. It's been a while we met, though. It's been a while.
And you're going to get married?
Yes.
You are the only one with, you said Monet.
Monica Pierre Nelson, your husband to be, says he loves you, and he said that on live television, no competition, no size.
That's all. Gifty.
Martin, thank you.
Gifty has scattered everybody else interest.
I love that, Gifty.
Good one. Have a great day, Kweku. So
consolidation of relationship. Anyway, so Gifty, who do we have next?
Okay, so our counselor is joining us right now.
Right in the middle.
So Amos, I said Amos, Roland said Amos. Please, let's settle it once and for all.
Hi, Gifty.
Hi, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Amos. I want you to settle the name. Amos.
Well, I mean, it's a Hebrew name, so Amos is most appropriate.
That's it. I always win. Amos. That's it. So we're glad to have you.
I heard about your discussion.
Yeah.
The battle of name pronunciations. And the enemy claims are lost.
We are Anglophone influence, so Amos is acceptable as well.
So there's
but there is also appropriate and acceptable.
There's appropriate and acceptable. I prefer appropriate.
You're right.
So we have a number of people
you could have
on
said
Zoom.
It better than that.
Yeah, we have a number of people on Zoom, and we're just looking at
I see anointed.
COVID-19 is impacting them. I've had two people, who are missing their partners, and they put in some nice words for them. I think maybe we should take someone who has a question, and then we'll have you answer Roland, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So all of you just interacting with us on Zoom. We do have Amos Kevinanan. He's a healthy family advocate, a counselor. He also preaches the word of God. And so please, if you have any question directly to him, very easy. Can we do this? Let's make a choice. Just a question to Amos. You are in a certain predicament. COVID has affected your relationship, your family ties. Please, let's have one of them.
Yeah, so
there's a gentleman in a jersey. I don't know whether it's a Ghana Police Service. Okay, I've seen a lady. Albert Aduho.
Alberta.
Hello, good morning, Gifty.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Alberta.
Yeah, I also want to say I've missed my family so much. Mr. and Mrs. Duho of Hopewell, and my children, Abigail and Samuel. I miss them so much. The government should open the borders for us to come home. I'm in school here.
Where are you?
I'm in Kenya, Nairobi, East Africa.
Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So you mentioned their name and you said that you miss them. Is there something you'd like to tell them that you want the whole world to know?
Yes, I've missed them so much. They should keep praying for us. We are safe and sound here. There's nothing wrong, but we want to come home. Okay. So the government should fast track things for us to come home and meet our families. Abigail and Junior, I've missed you so much. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Zuho at Hopewell, I miss you so much.
Oh,
I love you
come back home soon.
Oh, Charlie, I have good pimples around me.
I just want you to, say some words. And this is the third person who is talking about being away, staying away. The first person said he stayed away for about 6 months. The second person said they were about to marry, but the wife-to-be is a frontline worker, so they've not met. And then we have Alberta saying that she is even stuck outside. Sometimes when you're when it's internal, you feel like you can work around it, but she's outside and she can't meet them because someone is blocking her from meeting, and it's a necessary step that we need to take. For people like this, what can you tell them?
Well, I really empathize with Alberta's situation. And there are a number of people in the same situation as Alberta. I think that those who have successfully been reunited with their family members are those from the Western world, majority. And it would be appropriate for the government to consider if there are people within the West Coast, West Africa subcontinent, who would also want to be evacuated. I think that governmental conversations
like effects at the
in between that,
like family, like
can you mute your sound if you're not talking?
I think Techno's for Alberta, let's take consolation in the fact that you are alive. Of course, social distancing is what is happening now, but it's not social isolation. So you should begin to connect with your family members via the interface of technology, just as we are doing now. You've been able to join us all the way from La Côte d'Ivoire by technology. As long as they are safe and healthy, you don't have to be anxious, because one of the things that is causing a lot more harm to many people has to do with the fear, the panic, the anxiety. That alone induces so much stress on you. And that is not helpful for your own health as a person. For as long as you can do video chats via Zoom or WhatsApp or any other media, please do that for now until governmental conversations commence, where there will be the possibility of an evacuation of West Africans. I think that's something that the nation may want to consider. Now, for the person who was supposed to have had their wedding, that's a very tough one. I watched a couple of videos online where people had to do their weddings via Zoom, officiated. For now, this has almost become like our new normal. And I like the image in between the two of you there. It's quite unusual for people who are lovers to be facing each other with masks on. Yesterday, I heard the president say that all of us have become potential carriers of death or infection. And that's a real fear that is around all of us. And each one of us will need to readjust ourselves to a place where we fit into the new normal. If we decide to stay in our old comfort zone and our old ways of doing things, then living in this new normal will be a very, very difficult task, if not impossible. Now, you mentioned a third one, which had to do with somebody missing their loved one. Now, that's part of our reality as human beings. We'll miss each other, but just like I said to Alberta, the interface of technology comes to connect us. It doesn't disconnect us from each other. And so we should constantly look at ways of reminding ourselves of each other. Some of you can use, I see Alberta using an image. I most can hazard a guess that may be one of her daughters, but she looks younger. These are things we can do to console ourselves in the moment. With time, we will definitely zoom back into the space where we connect with each other. But in the interim, do not stress yourself with any idealistic mind that, oh, I have to meet them necessarily. If it is impractical to meet them, then interface of technology is the only way to go.
I was hoping that we could just, make it a little brief by clustering the questions or clustering the concerns that come, so that we take, so for the first three, they were dealing with the same issue, being away from their family for a long time. So we take one answer for that, Councillor, so that we'll be able to take as many concerns as possible. I have Evelyn for the next person. Is it Evelyn Kevin Annan? Oh, okay. Okay.
It appears so.
Okay. Hi, Evelyn.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Evelyn.
Hi, how are you?
Turn on the video. I think, are you the wife of Amos? Amos.
Sure, I am. One and only.
Yeah.
One and only. No size, no.
She's my roommate.
Okay.
No. I hear roommate is a negative way. It means that you are just in the room, nothing.
Oh,
happen.
But
I had to move to Tema.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but still.
Now, you from Tema.
Now, Evelyn, I know that because of what you and your husband, the two of you, what you do, there will be people who come up with a number of problems and difficulties. Yourselves, how have you been able to manage within this period of being tight as a family? And then what have been some of the experiences that people have shared with you? Evelyn, if you had me. Please,
He's muted.
Please unmute your sound. You have to unmute, Evelyn.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So you had my question. Can you go? Can you go on?
Yeah, we've had to deal with families experiencing some financial difficulties, and some families talking about how bored they are staying home, and how they've become used to their partners to the extent that they want some space. Yeah, they ask for some space. Yeah.
So,
and Amos has been very good in supporting them, with some has to do with financial support. Some of them too, he gives them counseling, as he's always been doing. He's very good in counseling. That is what he's good at, and he loves doing what he's good at.
Okay, so I want you to, I don't know if you're done answering the question. I want you to, Mr. Annan tells us that he has to move to Tema, which means the impression I get is that you're not together at the moment. I don't know how long you've not been together for, but what...
I just moved this morning.
What is it that you want to tell him? I know you guys definitely have a good relationship, but what is it that you want to tell him that you want the whole world to also hear? It looks like we're muted again.
All right. Can we go to the gentleman who has this green background?
What happened? Okay. Somebody's hand is up there.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman who has this green wallpaper in white and blue. White and blue, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, relaxed.
Yeah, very
with
relaxed.
A huge mansion behind him.
It looks like his video is frozen.
It's a virtual mansion. Pat Aswa. Where's Pat Aswa? Pat.
Yes. Pat, talk to us.
Talk to us. Hello, Pat.
I think Mrs. Kevin Annan is back. Let's try and finish.
She's frozen, I think.
She's still frozen?
Okay, she's moving now, but frozen. Moving. What about, there's a gentleman in blue, looks like a jersey, very, no arms. Boydu Dominic, are you on? Or just your picture? Yeah, Boydu.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Boydu. Boydu.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, Boydu, share with us your experiences with your family, whether extended or just the nuclear, if you have any.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I have a nuclear family, and actually I'm a student. I'm a university student, but before the COVID-19, we were not together, but during this COVID-19 era, I can see the tie. I can see we are united. Now we can organize ourselves for prayers and then morning devotion. Now we have dining together. So I think COVID-19 has helped us to come together.
Oh, wow. That's some great news.
Wow.
Great stuff there. Yeah.
Gifty,
Okay.
I think this is one of the important lessons of COVID. Within the period of COVID, we have seen families connecting like never before.
Yeah.
In some cases, that has posed a challenge. In other cases, it has worked very well. And we need to also, in the midst of counting our losses, we need to also appreciate the benefits that the entire COVID period has brought us. Clearly, there are losses, and it's been very heavy, but there have been also some benefits. Like Dominic rightly said, that they are now eating together. It means that the bonding of families in some cases are going to be stronger. For those who had a pre-existing problem, it will be weaker.
Okay, so let's get the next person. Next person.
Yeah, I think Pat has his hand up.
Okay, Pat.
It's here.
Pat. Yeah. Pat, can you hear us?
Yeah, Pat.
You with the Buckingham Palace behind you in green.
No, he has a TV refrigerator, I think.
Yes. Okay, Pat.
My name is Patrick. Yes. Hello?
Please go ahead, Patrick. How has coronavirus affected your relationships, your family ties?
Yes, I've been away for 1 year since last year, April. So this year, April, I've ever visited my mother and my father.
Oh.
Where are you?
I'm in the Volta region. I come from Eziama in the western region.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I know.
I am you can see this is Ghana Air Service. And I'll be going to work anytime soon.
Oh.
Do you have a family?
The COVID-19 trace. Yes, I have. I'm not married yet.
Okay.
But my father and my mother, they are grown. I'm on leave now, but I'm still doing contact tracing for government.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to go home. But I'm afraid I can give the disease to my father who is aged. So I kind of stay in the Volta region when we have a cure or a vaccine or something like that, so that I can go to my parents.
But you're not infected, are you?
Blaming. Is there?
You're not infected, are you?
No, I'm not infected. But I don't know when I be in the car to travel. I don't know what may happen.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Well, we'll get some advice.
So, Gifty, you see, Pat has been away for a year. His parents are aged, and he's not unable to visit them because he's exposed. Not that he has an infection, but he's been exposed because he's a frontline person doing contact tracing. I think that's a very prudent decision to take, knowing that the older you are, the greater the risk and the predisposition of the person. So, like I have said, any way that you can send them consolation, information, and thoughts, reminding them constantly that they are in your thoughts and they should appreciate that you being the eldest son, you mean well for them. That is why you are at a distance. And Dr. Gilia had said that social distancing does not mean social isolation. So we don't isolate ourselves, and that's the doctor who had the infection somewhere in the Upper East region. And she shared her story on Joy. I watched that video. I think that admonishing that social distancing does not necessarily mean social isolation should be something we all should have. Yes, distance, but not isolated.
Okay, let's take the next person. Next person, who do we have? Matilda.
Yeah, I think I saw the man with the mansion's hand up.
Yes. Do we still have the man with the mansion ready?
Buckingham Palace.
Okay, Buckingham Palace behind you.
Yeah, he's smiling.
Yeah.
Let's take him, and then after him, we'll go to Matilda. Please talk to us, sir.
Okay. Good morning.
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 Yes, I'm grateful. My name is Paul Konja.
Okay,
speaking from Kumasi.
Great.
Yes, I'm enjoying my leave now with my family. And in fact, since the COVID came, as somebody said, we have been enjoying our family devotion, family meeting. And can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Yes. As I said, we have been enjoying family devotion. Now I can say my children, they are able to give me Bible quotations. I'm able to take them through. My little boy is now able to preach to the family. And we are very grateful because it has bonded us so much that even the love with my wife has gone up.
Oh, wow.
And we are a happy family very now. And we are very thankful to God. And I remember my boy told me that he has been enjoying the family service even more than the school at the Church of Pentecost. So we were very, very, we are very, very happy family now.
I'm happy for you. Some good example there.
Now let's go to Matilda.
So, Gifty, the fall of Constantinople was a blessing in disguise.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Matilda, talk to us. Councillor Kevin Annan is listening to you.
Is Matilda?
Hello, Matilda.
Morning.
Good evening.
Morning,
Morning, Matilda.
COVID-19 has done us great disservice. Yes, because right now I miss my husband. We are not far from each other, but we are afraid to sit in vehicles and then we don't know what will happen. So as for my husband, he says we should stay wherever we are. And he has missed us, we have missed him too. We don't know what to do. So we are just praying that this whole thing will just leave and then we can leave and then be free and travel all the time, anytime we want. Financially too, it is draining us because salaries have been slashed and COVID-19 is not good. We are praying that it will leave us.
How long have you been away from your husband?
Okay, I went to him before the lockdown and I had to come back to come and do some few things concerning work. And I think for 2 months now, we haven't seen each other.
Okay.
We talk almost every day. You know, meeting and then seeing each other is most important. And we don't do that. It's really an issue for us. But we are praying that things will come to normalcy and then everything will be fine.
So, Mr. Kevin, what can she do while she waits for?
Yeah, Gifty.
Yeah.
I think Matilda has a very legitimate reason to say that the COVID has not helped. A virus necessarily does not help anybody. And that's the first acknowledgement. The second one is that I'm happy they are in touch by calls. If it was just audio calls, they should now move to video calls, calling each other to see each other. And she talked about us. So I presume there are some children around as well. The children should see their dad. The dad, it is very important in the absence of the ability to meet face to face. This at least helps. You can mimic hugging on the screen. I've seen a number of that online where people are hugging virtually.
Seriously?
Oh, of course. And even kissing.
And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, the world will never be the same. And we will not also be the same. So gradually, we will get there. We are doing all this for our own good and for our own safety. It's better than losing your life or being in a critical care.
Okay, yeah. Matilda, I hope this works for you. So if it was a phone call, a voice call, move to video calls, and let's work it out that way and see how it goes. So who next is ready?
Yeah, thank you,
Matilda gives
Matilda.
us a thumbs up. Good one there, Matilda. Enjoy your day. Prince Akbalu is next.
Prince?
Okay, Prince, hello.
Yeah, Prince.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning,
Morning. Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Hohoe, Volta region.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, I want to say that, well, this COVID-19 season has actually shown us a different dimension of life altogether. At least we are able to innovate things and then at least try to do certain things in different ways. People are reuniting with their families. Those that are out, at least, are in constant in touch with their families. So at least, even though it is not good, it's not helping us, but at least in one way or the other, at least, let's say it's okay. At least we are managing.
Well, thank you. I think that will take Evelyn on.
I want to thank Prince.
Yeah, please.
Gifty.
Please hold on.
It's very interesting. You know, my sister came for my younger brother's wedding.
Okay.
And she's not been able to reunite with her family since.
Oh.
Her husband turned 60 years, and they had to do the birthday virtually.
Wow. So where was the cake?
That's the reality of our world today.
Yeah.
Where was the birthday cake?
It's a pain. Italy. Oh, it was in Italy. He had to cut the cake in the house.
Who cuts the cake?
With the children, but my sister is here in Ghana, awaiting evacuation from the state. You know, so that's the new reality that we are all faced with.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been to your studio many times. You never wore a face mask or nose mask. But the current situation is such that we all have to shift a little.
Yeah.
The challenge is with the shifting.
Yeah.
You know, many of us shift and we still wish we were in the old space. But we have sung songs, the old order changes, giving way to the new. I remember when I was in Koforidua Sectec, anytime we were changing school prefectship, it was a song that they would always sing. The old order changes, giving way to the new. We must now reorient our mind and realign our lifestyle. You see, the thing is this, we've lost so many things. We've lost livelihood, we've lost lives, we've lost money and all that. But we must not lose the lessons COVID brings us. And I'm very happy Prince mentioned that. The lessons of COVID must not be lost on us. If it does happen that way, we are in serious trouble.
Sure.
Evelyn.
Evelyn Dede. Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn.
Sorry, Evelyn, wherever you are, if you can just call us back.
Becky Mott. Do we have Becky Mott or Rhoda Edinam?
Yes.
Yeah, I see
We're
Rhoda
giving
there.
priority to the ladies now. So
they are more emotional. So
seriously. Becky, can you hear us? If you can, talk to us. Okay. Since the prioritize.
It looks like Evelyn is connecting by audio.
Okay. She can't hear us, but as and when she does, we'll pick her up.
Let's go to Ajimandria. Ajimain.
Yeah, hello, Ajiman.
Ajimain,
talk to us.
Please unmute and talk. Tell us your experiences so far. Unmute your audio, Ajimandria.
Yeah, hello. Hello, Aji.
Yeah.
Ajimandria, if you can hear us, do talk to us.
The new normal.
You want us to call you Ajingo?
Hello, Aji. Ajingo, yeah, I think Ajingo will be fine.
Unmute your audio.
Yes, so turn down the volume on your television. Ajman, turn down the volume on your television. You can hear us on the phone, okay?
If you're not on the remote, it's serious. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Ajimai, go ahead.
We can hear you now.
Splendid.
That is Raymond. Say Ray.
Okay, Ray, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it has had a negative impact on most facets of our lives, but with family and relations, I would say that with the COVID, I've been able to enjoy more time with my friends and family. There are a lot of people that I hardly see them, but with the COVID, I have them around me. We learn a lot. We learn keyboard, we learn bass guitar, maybe some programming on our computers. When we are tired, we have our joystick available. We enjoy computer games, and we make fun. That is what we've been doing, and I think it is helping us.
Cool, but I hope you sanitize your hands when you do that, because if so many of you are sharing the same keyboard, you're touching the keyboard, so it's important to make sure that you have your sanitizers whilst you're doing that.
Yeah.
Gifty's OCD level is very high.
Yeah, it's important that we observe the protocols.
Yeah, true.
That keeps us safe.
True. Now
he's calling it OCD.
Yeah, okay. Lebet Dogbe, I see your hand up.
Yeah, Lambert,
you are muted. Unmute.
You have to unmute.
Unmute your sound, Lambert, and tell us your experiences, whether your family ties have been affected.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Lambert.
hello, Lambert.
Go ahead.
Okay. In as much as we are not all okay about this disease, but it has given me and us the opportunity to live together with my fam. I have a wife with 2 children, and this has given us the opportunity to know much about all of us. Though the kids are disturbing, but with my wife, we are able to look at a lot of things, and at times we've been married for 5 years. But there are a lot of things that maybe, if not because of this, we wouldn't have experienced it in a way. So we learn every day. We try to solve issues that maybe if we were away, those issues wouldn't have occurred. But with this, we are together, we are able to see, and at the end of the day, we are able to solve them, meaning that though it is a necessary, it's an evil, in one way or the other, it is unintended for us to act. So we are always home, and it is actually, if I may say, helping us in a way. Though the children are disturbing, the children, I don't know, we are both teachers, but this it's not easy. The kids are always fighting around. They won't allow you to rest. All the same, we have been together and it's been nice.
Oh, nice one.
Very romantic.
Well, Lambert, that's a real occurrence. I mean, when you have children of that age, there are a number of things that can come your way. One of them is disruption. They will disrupt your life, and you should not see it as a disruption. To find creative ways of engaging them. That helps them to now reconnect and rebond with their father. And many fathers are often absent. We're busy running around, chasing our own tails. This is the time to learn how to pause, learn how to breathe, learn how to reflect, and learn how to slow down. They may destroy some things at home as well. You need to develop greater tolerance and forbearance in managing that. Because they may break some things. You would see some things that you have never seen before, but as a parent, you need to be patient with them, and that will help you a lot. And I'm happy you are counting both your losses and your blessings. It's always very important. A human being is both positive and negative traits. You cannot be all positive, you cannot be all negative. And in the same way, COVID has brought us some positives. It has also brought us some negatives.
I just wanted to add.
How we take both are very important.
I just wanted to add that what you can do, I have a friend who created a space for the kids. So if you can, you have that luxury. Create a space for them, so and then you have this barricade thing around it. I don't know how to explain it.
That is if you live in a big house.
Not necessarily.
But if you buy a hall, my people in Ashana, we don't have.
You can create a space for them, so they understand that, look, this is for you, this place is for you. And if you have flat screens, you want to hang them at a place where they can't.
Ordinary Ghanaians, check my whole single room.
Let's do Becky. Becky, you're a very special person to us.
Gifty, do you know that? You know that is for the compliant child.
I mean,
we have the non-compliant child.
Well, we have Elansa. We have Ella. Ella. It goes by the name Ella, but I know it's a child.
But please, Becky, call us back. We want to hear from you.
It's a child calling with a name Elansa. Ella. Ella, can you hear us? Okay.
I think she needs to unmute.
Yeah. Senor, please unmute and then please let's hear your experiences. Senor. Seniram. Yeah, Seiram.
Yeah, I see Seiram.
Yes.
Seiram.
Yeah, hello, it's Seiram. It's Seiram.
Yeah, sir.
Talk to us.
Yes.
Your television.
Okay. I've had tough time because of the COVID. I'm actually a student at the University of Education, Winneba, and we had to come home because of COVID and battling with the online lectures, writing quizzes online, and then take home assignments. It has not been easy. I had to go and visit my mom back in her hometown, but because of the COVID, I'm scared of going. Probably I might be a career asymptomatic and I might go to fetch my mom. So I'm still hanging around. The only thing I can do is to give her a call. So this COVID has actually limited our access to a lot of things. But hey, I've been a good cook this time because I used to buy food almost often. I never had time to cook at home. I've been buying food always, but for COVID, I've stayed at home and I've taken cooking lessons on YouTube and from some friends. And now I have food, I cook, I eat, I do a lot of exercise, I try press up. And you see, Roland, you like my food if I give you some jollof and you enjoy it.
I'm not surprised. I'm not a big fan of jollof though, but I think I love yours. The way you make it sound appetizing.
I'm a fan of jollof anyway.
No, not me.
Roland, my favorite is jollof.
Yeah, my favorite is watching around your house.
So, Sairam, I need to visit you one of these days for a jollof party.
I can imagine.
Of course, you have to. You have to. Anytime you are going towards the Adami Bridge, just pass by.
Okay, I'm very happy. Sairam mentioned something about we are being limited.
Yeah.
That limitation is real.
Right.
But within the limitation, we can learn a new skill.
Yeah.
Some of my friends have learned how to do pancake and all that.
Oh.
I'm learning a new skill online. Now, for students, the online engagement has hit them very hard. Depending on where you are located, some can't even have good internet connectivity. Imagine someone who has to just simply listen to a phone call, has to climb a roof. And then now you are talking about they connecting online. That can be real frustration for those students. So I'm not surprised some of those people want to be housed residentially since there's the easing of the restrictions. And I will encourage as many of those to take advantage of such opportunities to make the necessary grades that they need. But for Sairam, I want to thank you for sharing this because the limitation is real, but learning a new skill is also an opportunity that has been offered us, which didn't usually, I mean, previously was not something we paid attention to. It did exist for some, but many of us didn't pay attention to that opportunity online, and now it is here to stay.
Yeah. Do we take the rest? How many more do we have? One. Okay. Okay. So we have to wrap up, but it's been an amazing conversation. I've loved it all the way.
No, I have to.
Amos, Kevin, and I want to wrap up with you. I'm particularly interested in those who are already in long-distance relationships and who have had to deal with this one as well. So it was already a long-distance relationship. Perhaps you were looking forward to meeting the person. Then all of a sudden, this one comes in. At least 6 months gone so far. How do you deal with that going forward also?
Well, for those individuals, this is not a new normal. This is their reality. All they need to know is that within the new reality, you need to ensure that there is constant creation of assurance. Do not violate trust. Endeavor to work on the relationship as you have always done. Do not be frustrated. For those who have not been in a long-distance relationship, they will be more frustrated than you because you know how you have managed the process. All the tools that have helped you and the value systems that has kept you intact up to today, please keep them. Because if you drop them, then you have crisis.
Right.
Endeavor to stay healthy and alive. It is better to have all your life saved than to be found in a critical situation. Let us not brave our way through the storm. When a storm is coming, we find a place of safety to hide. This is the same thing. COVID is a new reality in the world. It's not going to go anytime soon. I'm not a prophet of doom. And all the studies and the literature points to the fact that we are going to live with it for a long time. Let us all endeavor to protect ourselves and to protect others. As you wear the mask, you protect yourself. Others wear it and they protect you. Please, in managing it, apply the protocols that the WHO and the health authorities in our country have prescribed for all of us. Nobody is insulated. We are all at risk, and potentially we can put others as well at risk. Father's Day is also coming. I'm happy I heard an announcement that Father's Day is going to be celebrated by some entities in this country. I know that Joy News TV, you are a family-oriented base. Let us endeavor to celebrate fathers who ought to be celebrated. And let us also reprimand fathers who deserve a reprimand.
By all means.
For me, reward and reprimand must go together.
Well,
we cannot always just reward irresponsibility, but we must also reward responsible fathers. Fathers are hardly celebrated within the public space, but many of them are doing a good job. Let's identify those ones, highlight them as best practice for future generations. We are either building for the years to come, or we are breaking down the models for the years to come.
Fantastic.
I hope and pray that we'll build for the years to come instead of breaking for the years to come. Thank you for the opportunity as always.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Stay safe. We love you.
Amos.
Thank you so much. My regards to Jesua, and I hope that she's doing well as well.
Yeah.
Amos, Kevin, Annan. Those of you that we couldn't admit into the Zoom, those of you whose calls we couldn't take, sincere apologies. We will try to do that as we go along. You know how we do it. We'll just take and stay with us.
Definitely. But it's where we have to gravitate towards the next conversation. And we're talking about the National Blood Service. Well, we know that on Sunday, the 14th of June 2020, we're joining the rest of the world to commemorate World Blood Donor Day. So stick and stay. We'll bring you that next. I will told you that on the 14th of June, the National Blood Service is joining the world to mark the World Blood Donor Day. It's important that we have this conversation because what we already do know that has been told us by the professionals is indicating that we're not donating blood. We're just deciding not to volunteer. Why? We decided to have the head for blood donor recruitment unit at the National Blood Service right here, David Ahiajo. And Ms. Ahiajo, thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
And we're here because we have a critical issue. Yeah. Do we? Even though we still have to join the world, what do we need to do in the first place before we come to what the World Blood Donor Day in the first place is? What has been the situation? Can you tell us?
Well, thank you very much. Like you rightly said, June 14th, Sunday, is a World Blood Donor Day. And the WHO enjoins its members to observe that day. And it's all about getting blood to save lives. You know, when patients who require blood for their management don't have access to that blood, it results in death. These deaths are avoidable, so there's the need for us to actually educate and let people know and see the importance of donating blood voluntarily to make sure that we get the blood to save lives. Currently, our station is nothing to write home about in the sense that we are not donating blood voluntarily at all. And worst of all, with the advent of COVID-19, the station is worse. So wow. That's our station.
But why would we need to have these constant donations? Who need donated blood?
Well, thank you very much. In fact, blood needs to be supplied constantly because, one, it cannot be manufactured artificially. It cannot be sold in any market. It takes an individual to donate this blood to save a life. But one difficult thing about blood, too, is that it has a relatively short shelf life. If it's donated within 35 days, it should be used. So if it's not there, then definitely we are in trouble. So the clarion call is that voluntary blood donors should make it a point to at least donate once every 4 months. And if you have people in their numbers donating every 4 months, then we are sure that we have these numbers to save lives. And patients, a lot of patients actually require blood. We have people who have lost blood as a result of maybe motor road traffic crashes, which is a sudden blood loss. And then we have people for whose medical condition is such that the body cannot actually manufacture the needed blood. And some is also such that we have some medical conditions that decreases the blood in their system. And we have some other procedures that require that blood must be made available before the medicine can actually perform those procedures. So blood is very vital.
Now, I've had experiences in which patients have had to bring in their families to donate blood, and constantly that's the situation. Is that not enough?
Well, it's far from enough in the sense that because of the fact that we are not having people volunteering to donate blood, we need to fall on relatives of patients who have received blood to donate to save or to donate to replenish what was given. And that is a far cry from what we seek to do, because one, we are looking at readily availability of the blood, we are looking at the safety of the blood, and most of the times the relatives of patients will not even be there for you to get the blood to save someone else. So the mantra is that at least we should go 100% voluntary, for which we're supposed to be achieving that this year, because there was a declaration that we call the Melbourne Declaration in 2009 by World Health Organization member states, about 14 of them, that declared that by 2020, all member countries should be having 100% voluntary donation. But as we speak currently, we are doing below 45% voluntary.
Yeah. Now, if people have to continue to donate, apart from these interactions you're having with me right here on TV, what else do you do to increase participation?
Well, apart from the interaction, what we normally do is that we also engage the public through education, and for which I must say that we need to do more, because like education has not gone down well with everybody, so we need everybody on board to actually do education. And then aside of that too, we also have a database where we fall on our donors to call them to book an appointment to do a donation. And then we have designated blood collection points scattered across the country where people can go from Monday to Friday and then even Saturdays to do voluntary donations. So we are doing a lot to make sure that people actually understand blood donation and come into donation.
Blood is not for sale. So how ultimately do we hope that we can do the replenishment in the first place?
Well, blood is not for sale, you are rightly so. And the fact that it's not for sale then must come from you and I to volunteer to do a donation to actually save someone. But that is not to also say that we don't incur cost in getting the blood or making the blood safe for donors. So there's a cost that goes with blood that we call processing fee. So when you want to access blood, you call at the blood center, you are made to pay a processing fee. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you access the blood itself?
Yes, accessing the blood, you know, it depends on the condition. The clinicians actually will request that you procure blood, and you'll be given a form, and then a sample will be taken to the blood center. So any blood center, provided blood is available, anybody can go and access blood there, provided the condition demands that.
And the day, June 14, that's the main day. What are you doing to make sure you participate as part of what the normal
Yes, June 14, so we are having a commemorative event at the National Blood Service headquarters. It's going to be virtual because of the COVID-19, and we are going to stream it live on Facebook. So we have a Facebook link. If you indulge me, I can share the Facebook link. People can actually join in. It's http m.facebook/ National Blood Service Ghana / when you type that link, it will send you to the Facebook Live. So Sunday we are having a commemorative event. We are going to have the Deputy Minister of Health, Madam Tina Mensah, will be in attendance. WHO rep will also be there, and then our CEO will also be there. Speeches will be read out, and we'll like everybody to actually join in and participate, so that together we'll have a well blood donor day. Then aside of that, we've also designed some branded nose masks to actually be given to our donors from June 14 onwards. Whoever comes to do a donation nationwide will be given a nose mask, just to also make sure that they are safeguarded so far as COVID-19 is concerned. Yep.
Well, David Ehiadro is the one who leads the unit that makes sure that all these things are adequately also put in place, alongside the other units they have at the National Blood Service. But make sure that you watch the live streaming of World Blood Day. That's the World Blood Donor Day 2020. It's a virtual commemoration event this Sunday from the premises of the headquarters, the National Blood Service, Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. And then also join them through the link, Facebook/National Blood, and get interactive within the period. You can also call them on all their main center lines, 0277 50 10 once again, and they have a toll-free number, very important. Toll-free means you're not charged, 0800 50 10 10. But if you have any doubt, you want to get better information, more clarification on how you can donate and get involved, visit their official website, www.mbsghana.org, and that is where you get the best information. Make sure that you go with the theme, save blood, save lives, give blood, and make the world a healthier place. We all need to help each other to make sure that we have a healthy society. But in the meantime, we'll take you straight to Maxwell Agbagba. He had an interaction with the Mile 7 Taxi Drivers Association right here in Accra. And this is what they're fighting for. They want government to stop a private developer who is evicting them from a piece of land they so far have been occupying, using as a taxi rank. Let's join him.
We are live from the Mile 7 Taxi Rank, where some members of the Mile 7 Taxi Association are raising issues about a private developer who is evicting them from a land that they've been using as taxi rank for, I'm told, over 3 decades. Well, we told that sometime last year, the members of the association actually wrote a letter to the District Assembly, the Ganot District Assembly. They copied the Ministry of Roads and Highways. They also copied the police in that petition. The Minister for Roads and Highways actually responded to that petition and directed that a private developer who was putting up a story building here should stop the construction. Issues were raised because the private developer allegedly was also constructing a wall. Some of the taxi drivers had issues with. They're saying that the wall actually pushed them into the middle of the road.
Okay, so if the camera can zoom in, okay. It's about this property behind us, behind the taxi rank. There's a developer who has basically muscled his way into taking the land and developing it, ostensibly to build a car park for the EcoBank here who don't have proper parking. But this taxi rank has been here for 40 years. It's served this community for 40 years, about 20 of which I have been a resident. So basically they've been haggling about this for a couple of years. But we've had the developer has taken them to court and somehow won a declaration that he's the rightful owner of the land. But since the Minister of Lands, Minister of Roads and Highways and his deputy have come here, which I've given you a tape on, and declared this to be a right of way, just before in front of this house. It's a right of way. It is public land.
Yeah. So I've seen that this letter that you're showing me, and the minister said this will be used for the construction of road. He described this as a right of way. Yes. So they'll be using it for the construction of road. Yes. If they want to expand the road, they would use it. The minister actually stated that they do not have any problem with the taxi drivers using it as a taxi rank, but they have a problem with the private developer.
Yes. And this letter is dated 9th July 2019. It was written to the Chief Executive of the Ganot Assembly. Copies of the letter have been taken to the District Police Commander. And the taxi drivers are still here. They're getting closer to the road, causing traffic, because they're basically jostling for space with pedestrians. And it causes a lot of traffic here, and it's also not safe for the people that work here. But this letter is almost a year old. And the District Assembly, in spite of the fact that taxi drivers go there every week and to the police station, nothing is happening.
So your concern is that,
my concern is the
in spite of the letter written by the Minister of Roads and Highways directing that the private developer should stop work and then clear the road so that they can use it for a taxi rank. Yes. That decision has not been implemented by the District Assembly.
Exactly, that is the point. Okay. And even though the drivers think there's some kind of, well, there's manipulation going on, obviously. I think there is manipulation going on. Because this is the letter from the Chief of Staff of the Minister, of the Ministry of...
The Chief Director of the Minister.
Chief Director, pardon me. Chief Director. And somehow one day after...
What do you want to be done? You want, that decision to be, that directive to be implemented?
It's not just what I want, it's what residents want. We want this directive from the ministry to be carried out so that Mile 7 residents can have a taxi rank back again in a safe manner for both drivers and passengers and pedestrians.
Okay. I mean, we can understand the taxi drivers when they say that they are taking over the land that they use as a taxi rank, but how does it affect you as residents?
Okay, so I've lived here for 30 odd years and I do not have a car. This is how I get around. This is how I get about. Mile 7 taxis, the taxi rank. So how I came to know is that they all know because I'm literally always here. That's how I came to know.
So when the taxi rank is moved from this place, how is it going to affect you as well?
Well, we're all going to have to find another way of commuting, and I don't know how else to commute. There's no taxi rank within any distance.
Let me speak to some of the taxi drivers. Yeah, Chief, stand here for me. What's your name?
My name is DKK Nkrumah.
Okay. Who are you?
I'm a driver here.
You're a driver?
Yes.
Okay. So what are your concerns?
My concern is we've been here for about 40 years. And all of a sudden, this man came and I said the land is for him. So he started developing the land, fenced the whole area. So minister came in and he rescued us. 1 year down later, he came again and built the wall against us, and he stuck us from inside and throw us out here. So we are here and we are causing traffic and all those things. So we want the minister to come in again to come and rescue us.
Okay. So you're saying that 1 year after the directive from the minister, that the private developer should be stopped, his permits should be revoked, and then construction should stop so that you can still use this place as a taxi rank. That decision, that directive has not been implemented by the Ghana District Assembly.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what do you want to be done right now?
I want the minister to step in and come and rescue us from the developer.
Okay. What's the inconvenience this is? Tell us about the inconvenience and how this is, this is posing a challenge to you as taxi drivers here.
Of course, this thing is worried us too much because there's no taxi, let's say, station around this area, except only this taxi rank. And we have a lot of passengers. Sometimes we do day and night. Sometimes somebody will come from Kumasi, Takoradi, Tamale. They all come here in the night, midnight, about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We are still working here. So it's like if we are not here, in fact, the passengers, they won't feel comfortable to get a car home. So I want the minister to step in and come and help us.
You're saying that the private developer has pushed you onto the main road, so you end up causing traffic during rush hour.
Yes.
How is that possible?
Because here is a runabout, a very big runabout, and we are in the junction, in the junction too. So sometimes the whole place will jam because of us, because we have to turn around before we can come and park outside here. So that's why.
Okay. Thank you very much. What's your name again?
DKK Nkrumah, a.k.a. Okres.
Okay, you are the...
What?
Taxi driver here?
Yes, I'm a taxi driver here.
Great. Let me speak to other taxi drivers. Sir, you're welcome to join me. Yeah, okay, so this taxi is coming up. So you stand here for me. Yeah. You're a taxi driver here?
Yeah, I'm a taxi driver here. What we are looking for is that already the government came here some time ago to stop the developer from doing what he's doing. But all of a sudden, it cut off, and the developer came back. When he came back, we were trying to settle him, or we were trying to make everything comfortable for the two of us, but it was still insisting that we should move. So when he came, it was like he brought a policeman and a land guard, so many land guards. They came here, they destroyed everything that we are making over here. Our chairs, everything that we were having, we were even having office there. But they destroyed everything and they pushed us out. So we are here. Here we are not feeling comfortable because it's causing a lot of traffic. You see how we have even arranged our cars, it's not nice. Because if one car finishes loading, unless the first one moves, then the other one too come. So it's causing distractions and traffic.
Okay. So what do you want to be done?
What we are looking for is we want the Minister of Road and Transport to come to our rescue to help us from the developer. That's what we're looking for now.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, so you just heard from some of the taxi drivers and residents here at the Mile 7 taxi rank. They are members of the Mile 7 Taxi Drivers Association. Well, their concern is that the building right behind me, the private developer, has pushed them onto the streets. They say they've been using this piece of land for many decades, now. But now the private developer is pushing them onto the streets. They say that the Roads and Highways Minister sometime last year in July 2019 came here. And after that visit, he directed the Ganot District Assembly to take a decision to halt to stop the private developer from going ahead with the building and then revoking his permit. They say 1 year after that directive, is yet to be implemented, and they want that decision to be implemented by the Ganot District Assembly. They say for now, they've been forced onto the streets, and they accept that they are the cause of the traffic around the Mile 7, roundabout. So if you're coming from Pokwase, Tantra Hills and its environs, and you find any traffic around the roundabout, they are saying that this is part of the situation that you're facing here. From the Mile 7 taxi rank, Maxwell Agbagba for Joy News. Over to you in the studio. Okay.
Maxwell Agbagba with that roving for us. This is still the AM show with me, Gifty Andopia, and Roland Walker. So I have a special guest in the studio. I'm going to take a very quick break. When I return, I'll tell you about something rather exciting that's about to drop on the Joy News channel. Stay for it. All-rounded, and so after we do the news, we want to bring you some lifestyle tips as well, and that is what Outlook is all about. But I'm not competent enough to bring that information to you. Na is here, right here in the studio with me. Now will give us the nitty-gritties of this particular show. Now it's good to have you.
It's good to be with you for the first time.
Yeah. So Outlook, what are we outlooking?
So Outlook is more about lifestyle, everything lifestyle. We're talking about your clothes, what I'm wearing, our shoes, amazing art, going to the museum, checking out artwork, looking at fashion, intriguing fashion, whether it's wedding gowns, whether it's just normal fashion, or we're talking about food. I'm a foodie. So I like tasting food from different places, different countries, different towns. Right here in Ghana, we have so many different things, so many different foods. Yeah. We've been infused with so many Western stuff. So that's what Outlook is all about.
Okay, and it's starting this
It's starting this Sunday, actually, on the 14th of June, 2020. Right. This Sunday at 4:30 p.m.
What should people look out for?
Oh, everything. If you love food, if you love music, if you love art forms, you're going to enjoy yourself. We spoke to some of your favorite celebrities. I'm talking about musicians, music stars. There are some music stars that are multiply talented, like Episode. He does customizing of shoes, shoe customization. I actually got my shoes customized, and it's really cool. It's nice.
What does he do? What does he do to the shoe?
So he can pick an Air Force One and then turn into something else. Really? But my name is on mine now. I'll show you one. Okay. My name is on my white Air Force Ones. It was with gold and white, and it's so beautiful. Oh, wow. Any kind of, owning a Nikes or owning Adidas is just cool, but adding a touch to it, something modifying it, making it your own, makes you stand out. All right. And we saw something about cakes. Well, Jifa J-Teria isn't all about baking. Okay. She can make her cakes hang. They drop, they rotate.
So the cake will hang?
Yes, like that. It rotates, it drops. Wedding cakes, if your birthday cakes, whatever it is that you want.
So is it cake I see?
Yes, darling.
That has part of its preparation, all the carpenters.
Yes.
And the carpenter.
Well, she has a carpenter, she has a welder, because all these things come together. She's not just baking cake, she's using physics. Cake.
She's using carpenter.
Because she likes those extraordinary look. Right. One in a lifetime creations.
I'd love to see that.
You should. Whoa. And talking to her was amazing. And it will surprise you that even baking wasn't the first thing, it was just a hobby. And now it's in a business for her.
Okay.
Yes.
So these are, we're essentially looking out for some of these people and bringing them up for our viewers to see. Do people get to be interactive with that as well?
Yeah, interactive, no. This is more of a recorded show. But if you want to be a part of it, you can reach out to us on our Joy News platform, and then, yes, we'll get back to you.
So on Sunday, what will people, what's going to happen on Sunday?
Sunday, it's one of the food. You get to see all the things that we've been putting together over the weeks.
Okay. And what's it focusing on?
It's focusing on, I can't tell you everything, but there's going to be music, there's going to be this beautiful stuff, there's going to be art more. We're going to talk about jewelry, everything. Okay. Everything you can imagine. Even, can you imagine having a picnic in your home?
What I do is to sleep all the time.
You don't worry, I'll set up a picnic for you.
How is that done?
Sweet, if I tell you everything, the show won't come on.
It won't come on. I just want to
ginger you up. Well, there are these beautiful people that set up picnics for people. Romantic picnics, birthday parties that can be in a picnic form, just in your home.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I want you to just speak to our audience about Outlook and why they should make time for it on Sunday.
Outlook is an amazing program. It's everything lifestyle. It's everything that you would want. You know, the basic things, artwork. Who ever thought that going to the gallery would be a fun thing? Trust me. Come and you know, join us on Sunday and every other Sunday and experience that. Have exciting stuff. You know, young and upcoming artists, we're going to feature all of them. Some of the places that you never thought you could go to and have fun. Yes, you could go there and have fun. We'll bring all that to you right in the comfort of your home. Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. You want to stick and stay with us, and there will also be our stream on YouTube, which means that you can always go back to it. It'll be as a video on demand, and you get to take a look at it. So look, COVID-19, confusion, you know, you're stuck at home. Why don't you just open up and take a look at what you can learn, a thing or two. I love cakes. I love wedding gowns. You can just amuse yourself, you know. Have fun with it. Relax your mind, essentially, after the hard week. Yeah. Relax your mind on Sunday with Outlook.
Almost right there when I met Elle, we was gassed up.
We're looking for a name for ourselves when we decided to, you know, become a collective, and we're looking for a name, and I think BS derived it from digits, yeah, Spacely's digits, the intro, and we decided to, it was cool, so we decided to, you know, go with it.
Now this sweet, soft food is delectable, simply delicious. Some call it dainty, pastry or cake, and everybody loves a scrumptious piece of cake. We get into the kitchen, put on our aprons, and get a taste of heaven with Sweet in Tins.
Now that's definitely something I want to stay and watch on Sunday. Now, thank you very much.
Thank you too for having me.
All right. So now helps me to wrap it all up. I've been doing this with Roland Walker and Mamavi Owusu-Aboagye, wherever you are. What's the word? What did they say? There's something they say about Oyo Shiketa. Mamavi, you chop your money finish. So Monday, Mamavi Owusu-Aboagye will be here, and it's been great 3 weeks. Thanks to all of you who've been watching us, and keep watching Joy News. Certainly well-rounded news, current affairs, everything. Now we've got lifestyle for you as well. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Have a great morning and enjoy the weekend.